why the military goes out to fight a war, captures the terrorists, the ones that surrender, bring them in, and then they add them back into the military. They integrate them. We have seen videos, documentaries that explains how this process happened. Recently, we saw a video of a white man who went to the camp where these people have been rehabilitated.
From inside the rehabilitation camp, and this is Boko Haram. Then I heard that the Boko Haram repenters, or as you know, many still with Boko Haram minds, were preparing to get out in the bush and fight. So now the military armed them, so we drove back. But it definitely didn't feel more secure.
A little more to think about now, because all of them have like currency as well. They were giving ammunition out to these former Boko Haram because now they're going out in the bush, and he wouldn't let me allow to film that because the military is also coming.
If you are in Nigeria right now, you need to be very, very careful because you don't know who is who. Because the people who are handling guns, who are supposed to be protecting us as people in this country, are probably people who used to slaughter people like you and I. Does that make any sense? The people who are handling guns, the people who have been given these arms, who are supposed to protect you and I, might be people who have already slaughtered and dismembered people like you and I before. And now they have been empowered and given an arm to officially do what it is they used to do in the hidden. Whatever, it's not really in the hidden, right? It's already open everywhere. Watch this video and learn why those people are being reintegrated. Just watch the video.
This Johnny, come with me. There was something that happened a few years ago because, Nigeria is a very dynamic place. Regardless of all the evil that these guys have foisted on us, these people began to think and they began to wonder, the way times are changing and things are happening, are you sure that we're going to continue to draw loyalty from this military every day, every time? Are you sure? They began to wonder. Because at some point, some Nigerians will get up and say, this nonsense has gone on for far too long. Even my own family is being affected. How long are we going to play this fool for these guys? Maybe we just need to resist. Maybe we need to say no. Maybe we need to pull off some Jerry Rollins on these guys and kill or destroy all the colonial stooges and cabals and all the corrupt men who have held everybody's destiny down. Maybe that's what we need to do. Elements of that have started coming out little by little. Our soldiers have started thinking for themselves. Our soldiers started thinking across board. And something suddenly began to happen to the military. I don't know how long it went on before I found out, but I will tell you when I found out. I don't know if that is when you found out yourself. Let me show you something. This is a channel. It was Wall Street Journal that had an exclusive report. And channels also carried it. And they have the same caption right here on the screen. It says, Nigerian army buries soldiers at night in secret cemetery report. And what is it saying? Let me read you one paragraph here that startled me and got me thinking immediately. It says here, a soldier who spoke from the Malari barracks is quoted as saying, several of my comrades were buried in unmarked graves at night, where more than 1,000 soldiers are based. They are dying and being deleted from history. And we heard from the report further that they buried over 1,000 in one night, and they were using torch because they were doing it in the dark. They didn't want anybody to know that these soldiers who were killed by terrorists were being buried. Far back 2019, way back in 2019. And that was when I began to think, I said, what is going on? 1,000. Why did they not have the decency to even announce this and tell? In fact, the report was saying that the families of these soldiers did not know. Nobody consulted them. You just buried their children in the dark because you don't know how to explain the cause of their death or what led to their death, because you knew that was going to throw up a lot of dust and a lot of suspicion. And I knew then that something like this had already started happening even before this one happened. And we've been talking about it in hush-hush. And then I knew that we are in a new era. What was the new era? The new era is an era of basically trying to now find a way to replace much of what we call the original traditional Nigerian soldiers with foreign terrorist elements or foreign fighters who are going to be ushered into Nigeria through what they call Operation Safe Corridor. Operation Safe Corridor is aka also known as the Repentant Terrorist Program. But at this time in 2019, even though I already had it, I already came to that conclusion that this might be a replacement agenda program going on to replace our soldiers. I couldn't say it out loud because I didn't have any evidence. And you know me, before I speak about anything, I want to have a proof. And so, as time went on, the killing of soldiers became so outrageous that it was now being reported openly. Nobody was waiting for the military to report them. Military barracks are overtaken. Soldiers are killed in their hundreds and dozens every time. And it became a norm to the point that I was saying to myself, how can these people still have any morale to fight? When a soldier will go to the battlefront expecting that there will be some intel and some guidance from based on how to fight, all of a sudden the information they are getting is one that drives them into the traps of their enemy. I mean, soldiers are literally complaining on social media, breaking with the tradition of the profession. And they are complaining constantly on social media, saying this is what is happening. Why are our own base betraying us? Crying, we've seen soldiers cry tears. And then the big break came, when some of them now summoned courage and began to declare it, to prove us right that what we have been thinking and speculating in our heads, that it is actually truly happening. The day the soldiers started to talk about how that the repentant terrorists that they call repentant, that they are actually integrating them not just into the Nigerian society, but also allowing them to enter into the army. People who have been groomed from infancy, most of them, to only fight, to kill and shoot at sight, to brutalize, to actually rape, disembowel pregnant women, decapitate. Just the other day, not up to 3 weeks now, about 8 or 10 soldiers, Nigerian soldiers, were killed. They were decapitated, and the terrorists made away with their heads. I'm pretty sure those soldiers were buried headless. This is happening in Nigeria. A general had just been killed. He was kidnapped like a common criminal, like a chicken on the streets with his wife, and he died in captivity. And the moment he died, 24 hours after his death, his body was released. Nobody has explained how his body came out. But you couldn't save him when he was in their captivity. The story of what is happening to Nigerian soldiers, you hear across board. They're even making videos telling you that they are not on their way, they are deserting, they are running away, they are leaving. So there's a massive vacuum being left behind. Who is filling the vacuum? The soldiers are telling us that the repentant terrorists are the ones coming to fill the vacuum.
Good morning, gentlemen. One of these problems we are having in the armed forces today is because we give the enemies chance to outsmart us. The 48 laws of power, number 22, page 163, says, use the surrender tactics to transform weakness into power. Now, you send our soldiers to battlefield, and along the line of the battle, the soldiers overpowered the bandits or the Boko Haram. Because they have been overpowered, they now applied the 48 laws of power by surrendering. Now, the soldiers now applied the military rules of engagement and decided not to fire them because they have surrendered. At this stage, they got them arrested in order to investigate them and get more of their secrets. Now, instead of focusing on getting their secrets, the government now retained them and said they are repented Boko Haram. You enroll them into the army, you are paying them salary and train them, giving them more secrets of the soldiers. And by the time they got the power, they will reinforce more and come back for you because of what? They already know you.
It was said, I not go operation for Meduguri. I was still the Nigerian army today. Now, when I go operation for Meduguri, I see how they compromise. They ask soldiers to work with terrorists. Terrorists are big bad people. When I carry themselves to buy them, when I say that they work with soldiers. And they say terrorists. When I go so now, when I give them pass, make they go see their family. Some of them go follow their go, they not go come back again. They'll go join them back. They don't gather more evidence. That's how you people are buying the army. Most of the operation that is happening and successful by Israel in Meduguri was because by the commanding officers. All the whole successful operation when Boko Haram they carry when they did successful. Now commanding officer they cause them.
Now soldiers are complaining that bandits in the army are giving out information to their former commanders. I don't talk this thing tired before. You go arrest a known bandits, they don't give you order to honor life, and so you don't go against that order. So you hand over these bandits to the right authority for them to do the needful. But instead they go carry and go camp. After some months, they will say, don't repent, he's not a good person. The next thing they could put her inside army. Not just, they could put them inside army, or they put them for police. In fact, they separate them. Some go army, some go police, some go navy, some go air force. Special candidates. Person who you arrest like 8 months ago. Today is now your colleague, and I did the same duty. So how can you be so comfortable that these same terrorists will watch your back if anything happens? This person, they are still loyal to their former commanders. Their terrorist commanders, they are loyal to them. And the reason why these soldiers will make plans on how to launch an attack, the next thing, they don't hear everything. They know everything when it happen. They know the kind of people the way they base. They know numbers of soldiers where they are around. They know everything. Courtesy of the so-called repentant Boko Haram that the government push into the military to do what? To fight their fellow. They are not even formal colleagues. They are still colleagues.
Did you hear for yourself? These people are applying the rules of engagement on an enemy that does not apply the same rules of engagement on our soldiers when they find them. When they find these soldiers, they are asked to kill on sight, to brutalize, to decapitate, to amputate, to humiliate. But our own military is telling you that when you see them and they surrender, you should apply the rules of engagement. The Geneva Convention agreed rules of engagement that says that when an enemy combatant has raised their hands up and surrendered, you should treat them kindly. Why should I treat a terrorist kindly with all the rape of babies, the kidnap of hundreds of Christians, the brutalization of young people and people's mothers, destruction of lives and properties, and you see them, you still give them the courtesy of going through a process that is meant for normal human beings? And you're telling me there is no complicity, right? And we're all supposed to accept and believe that. You saw that. So now you're going to take repentant Boko Haram people. For people who don't know, repentant Boko Haram or repentant terrorist program in Nigeria. So remember what I told you? These guys got to a conclusion that it would be better to start replacing. As at early this year, Borno State government claimed that they had received over 300 and something thousand of those men. And we just heard, I don't know if it is true, but I have seen the figures on social media in the last 48 to 72 hours, that they have also just received another 1,000 and then another one again, 700. So it's almost like at this time, they are ratcheting it up. Like, it's almost like every minute they are churning them out. And I'm asking myself, these are the same terrorists who just killed a general, the same terrorists who just kidnapped 40 school children from a Baptist school in Oyo State, and then videoed themselves decapitating one of the teachers and showed the video. The same terrorists who took a phone and called a young man and made him watch the brutalization of his poor, unhealthy mother. The same terrorists are the ones that we are giving all this pampering and consideration.
The people who are handling guns, people who have been given these arms, who are supposed to protect you and I, might be people who have already slaughtered and dismembered people like you and I before. And now they have been empowered and given an arm to officially do what it is they used to do in the hidden. Whatever, it's not really in the hidden, right? It's already open everywhere.